Welcome in to ESPN's coverage of college softball from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in Denton, Texas. This is the American Conference on ESPN. Today it is a non-conference matchup, getting things ready for conference play this weekend as the number 4 Oklahoma Sooners out of the SEC take on the North Texas Mean Green. It's the 31st meeting between these two programs. Alongside Maria Tribalpiece, I'm Kyle Yeomans, and there's a lot of excitement in the building. A sold-out crowd here at Lovelace Stadium. They're looking for their highest-ranked win ever as a program.
There's beautiful weather. There's a ton of people in the stands, Kyle. I cannot wait for this matchup against an Oklahoma team that has a lot of pop in their batting order.
And one of those batters and one of those hitters off to an incredible start. Kendall Wells, the freshman catcher, one of the best in the country.
86 home runs for Oklahoma as a team. 15 of those come from Kendall Wells. Head coach Patty Gasso talked about Jocelyn Allo and Lauren Chamberlain, and she says Kendall Wells swings a bat similar to them. So much pop and power. She has got off to such a hot start as a freshman.
On the other side, North Texas has a formidable catcher of their own, Elizabeth Moffitt, one of the best hitters in the American Conference.
Well, head coach Cody White calls her the combination of pure athleticism and hard work. You see it paying off this season for Elizabeth Moffitt. She has gotten better every single year. The pop in her bat is incredible, and she's also pretty good behind the plate as well.
She's had a phenomenal start to her campaign. You talk about the power, the average. They have a little bit of it all. It's a fun one on tap. North Texas and Oklahoma, their first meeting in Denton since 2020. And it's the first home start that we will see from Brittany Lewinsky. The only pitcher to actually throw innings at Lovelace Stadium this year was Annika Anderson in a complete game shutout against East Texas A&M. Lewinsky back in the lineup. She's been pretty good throughout the year in the circle.
And she's gotten better as the season has gone on. That's something that Cody White talked to us about. His entire pitching staff is they're finally starting to get more comfortable. Lewinsky, one of those as well. You see, she's going to throw in the mid-60s, Kyle. She has a rise ball, a very deceptive changeup, and she likes to go to the screwball as well. So look to her to utilize some of those pitches here, especially against an Oklahoma lineup that is so strong.
Yeah, it's 80 degrees and sunny here at Lovelace Stadium. The wind currently 12 miles per hour, blowing straight out to right field. That means she's going to have to keep the ball down.
Keeping the ball down is so key against Oklahoma because what do they like to do, Kyle? Elevate. They have so much power and pop in their lineup. So it's not only keeping the ball down, it's also utilizing that changeup because Lewinsky does throw the ball more up in the zone. The changeup is going to be the key pitch for her because it's going to change speeds, and that's the pitch that will stay lower in the zone.
Lewinsky 5-5 with a 4.68 ERA, 58 strikeouts, 32 walks. This is a pitching staff that thrives off of the strikeouts, and I don't know if this is one of those lineups that you're going to go against for Oklahoma where you're going to miss a lot of bats and strike out a lot of hitters.
You take a look at that batting order, so much power and pop. The key for North Texas in this game is to not try to strike everybody out. The key is to keep them from squaring up the ball. So you want those weak hit ones. You want to get ahead early on hitters. That's the way that you get Sooners hitters out. It's a lot easier said than done. Many teams have struggled with that task throughout the season.
Oklahoma coming in as the number 4 ranked team in the nation. North Texas looking for their highest ranked victory at Lovelace Stadium all time. Their highest at the moment was against number 7 Oklahoma State back on May 3rd of 2023. Lewinsky rocks and delivers. We are underway with the first pitch low. Chad Spittler is our home plate umpire. Troy Kirkendall over at first, and Bubba Awald is the third base umpire in this Tuesday night meeting. So this is outside for called ball. Oklahoma has won 30 of the 31 previous meetings between these two. The one win for North Texas was North Texas taking down Oklahoma 4-3 back in 2020, and then OU took advantage of the return trip that season.
And it was really interesting to hear from Coach Patty Gasso as she was driving to the game today, saying that she considers this a little bit of a rivalry. She likes coming to play North Texas.
Check swing. Pickering holds up, and it's quickly a 1-2 count.
That's that deceptive changeup we just mentioned from Brittany Lewinsky, throwing it in there for a strike.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Lewinsky, we talked about thriving on the strikeout. She gets an early one here.
It's that change of speed. She has the change up on the pitch before, and then she comes back with a rise ball that has some screw away from the left-handed Pickering. So much movement on that pitch to get the strikeout for Lewinsky.
This one also catches the lower half of the zone. Back-to-back All-Americans to start this lineup for Oklahoma. Pickering, then Ella Parker. Parker hitting .500 with 7 homers and 24 runs batted in. Gets this one off the end of the bat. Playable for Daniels at short, and there's quickly 2 down.
Credit goes to Brittany Lewinsky. Again, she starts with the changeup, so that's going to mess with some timing. Ella Parker is timed up on that one, so then the next pitch that Lewinsky throws, she gets it off the end of the bat and is unable to square it up.
Lewinsky, the right-hander, 61 1/3 innings pitched entering the day. Now it's 62 total on the season. Here is the aforementioned freshman, Kendall Wells. 3 multi-home run games this year. Hitting above that 400 mark and 15 bombs. Hits this one high in the air. It's going to carry into the wind. It is way out of here. The power on display early for Kendall Wells, and the Sooners strike first.
You can never take a breath in this Oklahoma lineup. Even though you get the first 2 outs, one of the best home run hitters in the nation steps into the box for Oklahoma. Kendall Wells knows what pitch she can drive. This one on the outside part of the plate, waits on it, Kyle, gets her hands to the ball and just drives it into the trees in right center field.
Talked about that wind blowing out for even a right-handed hitter. If you're able to extend on that outside pitch, it can hit it a long way, just like Wells did there.
Well, it almost looked as if she didn't even swing that hard, you know, no effort into that swing. It's so beautiful. You see that wide stance that she has, supplies so much pop.
Incredible stuff. One swing into the day for Wells, and she is already showing why she's not just a freshman of the year type of candidate, but a player of the year candidate in both the SEC and then across the college softball landscape.
It was so impressive for me to hear Coach Patty Gasso talk about her in the same sentence as Jocelyn Allo and Lauren Chamberlain, 2 of the greatest home run hitters in our sport.
This one barely catches the edge. There is a pretty good contingency of Oklahoma faithful in the building, and they did not like that one catching the outer half. Lewinsky maybe trying to paint the edges a little bit more after giving up the long ball to Wells. She walks Garcia with 2 outs. And a runner on for Lexi McDaniel now up.
Well, that's the thing if you're pitching against Oklahoma. There is no opportunity to take a breath. You are constantly having to hit the corners, having to paint the edges, and so after you give up a home run, you're thinking about that a little bit more.
Daniel, SEC Freshman of the Week, hitting with a high average at the moment, one of the highest on the squad. Talked about not taking a breath against this Sooner lineup, and this is exactly why. Every player on the Oklahoma roster that has registered at least 1 at-bat this season has also tallied at least 3 homers. Just incredible stuff.
I had 2 home runs my whole career.
Swing and a miss as Lewinsky gets her chasing on the changeup.
That's what I want to see Lewinsky use more of, is that changeup, because we haven't seen an Oklahoma hitter square that up yet.
The 1-2. Softly hit, ground ball to short. Daniels over to first. It is done in the inning. 1 across for Oklahoma. Kendall Wells with her 4th home run in the circle. The sophomore right-hander gets the ball from Patty Gasso early in this one. Her 11th appearance of the season, already with a 5-0 record and that sub-3 ERA, as she has that high strikeout to walk ratio that Oklahoma strives for.
Well, she has that beautiful spin on her ball, a lot of late break and elite movement, Kyle. Her main key for getting hitters out is keeping the ball up in the zone, so that's what she'll try to do against North Texas here tonight.
First pitch swinging off the end of the bat by Ryan Mitchell. Mitchell, Daniels, and Conley lead things off for Cody White in his first season as the head coach with the North Texas Mean Green. Madison Conley in that 3 spot in the order has already been fantastic this season. A couple home runs over the last 5 games this past weekend. It successful trip for North Texas on the road. Lofted fly ball into shallow left. And this one's tracked down by Garcia for the first down.
Garcia got a great jump on that ball. It looked like it could have fallen in no woman's land, but takes a great angle on it and gets underneath it to get an easy first out for Oklahoma.
This is a North Texas team that started the season 2-8 through their first 2 weekends of play, but played some high-level competition, including some SEC foes to Oklahoma that the Sooners will see later in the year. Mississippi State being one of those that gave North Texas a bit of trouble. They faced Texas Tech 3 times already this year. And of course, the Sooners would expect to see the Red Raiders at some point, maybe in Oklahoma City when it's all said and done.
It sounds like something that they've seen before in Oklahoma City.
Huicheño sees this one fouled off again by Daniels.
But to your point, Kyle, that opening slate for North Texas really tested them and brought out a lot of their resilience. Head coach Cody White talking about they could have broke and fallen apart, but they didn't. They kept getting back up, and they've seen some success in these last couple of games because of that.
Gotten back to that 10-12 mark. A lot of confidence the last few weeks. Called strike 3 on Daniels. First strikeout of the day for Huicheño. 2 down in the inning for Conley, who steps in for the first time. But when you look at the way this North Texas team has grown, especially the lineup, top to bottom, it is dangerous in the American Conference. And it's a team that has a lot of confidence. They were picked 5th out of 10 teams. They felt like that was low. This one inside, and it runs in and gets Conley. Or Texas will take their first base runner however they can get it.
And to your point, Kyle, I think it could have been low, right? They return players like Madison Conley, like Elizabeth Moffitt, Annika Anderson in the circle. This is a team that made it to the American Conference Championship game a year ago and upset the #1 seed Florida Atlantic. And so they ended on such a high note. They have returners. They have maybe a chip on their shoulder now to prove, hey, we belong at the top of this conference.
This is one of those returners, Elizabeth Moffitt. 6 homers, 24 RBIs this season for the Mean Green, leaders in both categories. Named one of the top 12 catchers in the nation this past weekend, according to Softball America in their Monday poll. So you get a battle of 2 of the best catchers in college softball. One side it's Elizabeth Moffitt, the other side it's Kendall Wells. This one up and out, gets off the glove of Wells.
I've loved watching Elizabeth Moffitt all season long because she looks so poised and confident in the box, and I think it's just having a couple seasons of college softball under your belt. She is swinging at pitches that she knows she can drive, and Kyle, she is doing just that. She has the skill set already. That's something that Cody White told us. She is so athletic, but now she's pairing that with confidence and belief in herself, and that's why she's been so good this season.
Junior out of Prosper, a softball powerhouse about 20 minutes northwest from Denton. Started her career at Texas Tech and then transferred to North Texas last year and immediately became a starter and a key figure in the lineup. 2-1 from Huicheño. Does clip the edge and evens the count.
The late break on Huicheño's pitches, when you watch it, especially on the monitor, Kyle, it jumps so late it makes it hard to decipher if it's going to be a ball or a strike as a hitter.
Moffitt gets a piece of it, but not enough to send it past Agbayani at second base. Runner stranded at first after a hit by pitch here in the first. 1-0 Oklahoma. On to the second we go in Denton. You've seen one long ball from Kendall Wells, but she's not the only fab freshman that Patty Gasso has at her disposal.
I mean, there's 4 on this graphic right here, but Kai Miner's another one I want to pay a lot of attention to. She's a true triple threat at the plate, Kyle. The way that she runs, she can bunt, she can slap, she has some pop in her at bat. And also defensively, she is so athletic tracking down balls in the outfield. It's somebody that I'm going to keep an eye on her entire college career.
Yeah, you don't have to wait very long
to
watch her
right?
as she steps up to lead off the second inning. Just one hit between the two in the opening frame. There's that initial bunt attempt. Still a strike as Lewinsky delivers.
And here's what being a triple threat opens up as a hitter. Those corners have to come in. The middle infielders have to come in as well. It opens up gaps. So when she's able to square a ball up or step back and swing away, there's a lot more openings in both the infield and the outfield, which will produce more hits. Like I said, she runs well, so she can get around the bases.
16 straight games with at least one hit. Last time she was held without a hit in a matchup was at Arizona back on February 8th, the opening weekend of the season. This drops in for a strike. Lewinsky again pulling the string. Anytime you can freeze a hitter of the caliber of Kai Miner, that means you've got your best stuff working at different times. Off the end of the bat, fly ball. Tough play, nobody there. Slovak mishandles it, and this is not the base runner you would like to mishandle something in the outfield. Miner quickly to third. Slides her way in, and the leadoff hitter is on.
It's not just the speed, though, Kyle. It's the softball IQ and aggressiveness. Off the bat, she knows it could be an out, but see how she turns on the Jets as she rounds first, rounding second. She knows immediately she's going to take that base at third. When you make that decision, it's hard to get a runner of her speed out.
Any misplay in the outfield, you'd have to think it's extra bases to a certain extent, as this one's high in the air, deep in the right field, foul ground. It's tracked down by Madison Conley, but Miner scores easily from third to double the Oklahoma lead.
Madison Conley does a great job of tracking that ball down. That's a difficult play to make as an outfielder. Going to your glove side in foul territory, you know she's not going to get Kai Miner tagging from third, but to get the first out of the inning is huge.
Second triple of the year for Miner, and it results in a run. That also shows the respect factor that a team like North Texas has when they play a program like Oklahoma. You could easily see that drop. You got a runner on third. Maybe you want to try another opportunity, as this one's driven in the air. Deep into center, all the way back to the wall is Platt. She works back from the warning track to retire Sydney Barker. But you don't let that drop in foul ground, because you got to take outs when you get an opportunity.
There is so much power in this Oklahoma lineup that you can't give them second chance opportunities when they're hitting. If a ball's up and you can make a catch, you need to make the play on that.
Textbook type of play by Platt out in center. Ranges back to the wall. Of course, because of that power, North Texas naturally playing just a couple feet off the warning track. But she goes straight to the wall and then works back in center field, and that's what you're taught. You're a former outfielder. That's part of your game.
Sprint to the spot. You want to get behind the ball. Do not drift as an outfielder. That's how you get burned. Platt played that perfectly.
Agbayani, 9-hole hitter in this Sooner lineup. 452 average in your 9-hole. Not necessarily a bad thing to deal with. Just misses inside from Lewinsky.
You usually want that 9-hole hitter to turn it over to the top of the order, but hey, in this situation, it doesn't matter if you're 9 or you're 1's up. They're both hitting well over 300.
Works a 5-pitch walk, keep the inning alive. Second walk issued by Lewinsky.
You may see more walks from Lewinsky because she's trying to avoid throwing it over the heart of the plate. That's how these Oklahoma hitters will hurt you, and they'll hurt you sometimes on pitches that are off the plate as well, so you have to work the edges. Therefore, more walks may come of that.
Second opportunity for Pickering, who struck out to open the matchup.
This is my favorite part of softball games, Kyle. Second time through the order, how does the pitcher, how does the hitter make adjustments?
And that's how you make an adjustment off the handle but into the opposite field. A single on a line drive to left. 2 runners on, 2 down for Oklahoma, and they're getting back into the meat of the lineup.
Pickering's adjustment in that at-bat was to swing hard and just try to hit a line drive. She struck out with big swings last time. Takes a hard swing, but this one just going with that outside pitch.
Moffitt mishandles this one from Lewinsky initially, but neither runner can advance. Wells, who lined out to Daniels at short, turns this one over. Chopper to second. That's the third out of the inning. Oklahoma leaves a pair stranded, but they will have Kendall Wells to lead off the third. 2-0 OU. They add one more. They've scored one in each of the first two frames on the road. Winning nearly 500 games in 13 seasons up in Oklahoma at the Division II level, and he brings 10 newcomers with him to try and re-bolster what has been a successful era of North Texas softball.
Well, Cody White said he took this job because he wanted the challenge of what North Texas and the American Conference brought. He brings some players with him, but he also adds to a roster that, as we mentioned, have some great returners like a Moffitt, like a Conley. And so that combination of what he has, I think, can be lethal, especially as the Mean Green head into conference play this weekend.
Won 499 games at the Division II level. Was named head coach back in May after leading the University of Central Oklahoma for those 12 years. I asked Coach Gasso, do you have a relationship with Coach White? This game pops up in a non-conference slate on the road in his first season. They both, of course, coached in Oklahoma, very different levels, but still a lot of success respectively between the two head coaches. And she said, no, this was one of the first times I've ever going to get to meet him, but she does like playing North Texas because of the talent level and the possibility of also recruiting the area that is around Denton, Texas.
I think it's exciting for someone like Cody White, who takes over this North Texas program because of what Texas has to offer in terms of softball. There's so many great travel programs. There's so many great high school programs. There's just a hotbed of talent in this area.
High pop-up left side. Garcia calls everybody off into shallow left, and there's one down. 3 pop-ups in the first 5 batters for this North Texas lineup. And when we talked to Coach White, we asked about the growth that he's seen here in just year one and where he wants to improve. He talked about approach a lot. He talked about how when they get to the plate, he wants a confidence level to be there. And that's exactly what North Texas showed this past weekend, putting up 18 runs against Detroit Mercy, 16 against Abilene Christian, and then even striking a couple times against Texas Tech as well.
And the more they play, the more at-bats they get, the better and more confident they'll be when they step in the batter's box.
Layla Nobles takes high for ball 1. There's Coach White in that third base coach's box. What a pleasure he's been to talk to just in year 1. Only his second home game here at Lovelace Stadium. Nobles gets around on it, sends it foul over the third base dugout.
And what a place to host your home games, right? Lovelace Stadium is gorgeous. I know walking in here for the first time a couple of weeks ago, it's just beautiful, the way that the grass is manicured, the outfield fence. It's a gorgeous stadium, especially in the American Conference.
Soft ground ball over to first, and that one is out number 2. Riley McNeamer comes up now, another high-level returner for Coach White and company. You saw a shot of Patty Gasso in that first base dugout rather. It's hard to find anybody more legendary and more decorated as a head coach in college softball history.
It is so incredible what she's done for the game of softball. I have so many friends who, you know, I talk about softball a lot. I played, and it's one of my favorite things. And so many of them, because of what Oklahoma has done and what Patty Gasso has done, have come to love the sport. And they'll say things to me like, hey, do you think Oklahoma's going to win another national championship? Or, hey, I watched Coach Gasso in this tournament. And I think it's so exciting. It's so great for the sport, Kyle, to have people who maybe haven't watched softball before come to enjoy the sport. And Patty Gasso has so much to do with that.
Yeah, she is a living legend in what she's done for the sport itself. And, of course, the national championships in the Nearly 1,600 wins tell the story more than anything.
Just 1,600?
That's what she's got at, at Oklahoma anyways. Inside, that one nearly comes in to hit McNeamer as well. Remember, Madison Conley was hit by a pitch with 2 outs in the opening inning. Only base runner so far for the Mean Green.
Well, Huacheño's throwing that rise ball with some screw movement inside to right-handed hitters, and that's why you saw her hit Conley and almost Nick Niemer there.
2-2, high, swing and a miss. Strike 3, and Miley Huacheño works a 3-up, 3-down inning through just 12 pitches in the middle of the second.
Late movement from Miley Huacheño. The rise ball getting yet another North Texas hitter to end the second inning.
Fresh off her 16th homer of the season in just 22 games. Freshman making quite the first impression on the college softball world. And with that solo shot in the first, she continues to be one of the highest hitting freshmen in college softball.
She hits for high average. She hits for a lot of power. And you saw on that home run, Kyle, it almost looked effortless, the way that she elevated the ball out of the park. And I think a lot of it has to do with her lower half. You'll see she has a wider stance, knees flared slightly out, but it allows her to generate power with her lower half, and that's where so much of your strength comes from as a hitter.
It's kind of a unique stance in the fact that it is so wide, and like you talked about with the knees kind of catty corner there, not everybody can do that. You have to have a level of strength in order to achieve something like that, and I think that's what sets her apart, is the fact that she has just unbelievable bat strength and the power behind each of her swings. Anytime she makes contact, it could leave the yard. This one, she may have gotten a little too far underneath it. It's still sky high. Tough play for Harmon, who had to track it down. The sun's setting off to our left. And with the sun setting, clouds kind of making things tough, and Harmon's still able to make the play.
I don't think it's the clouds and the sun. I think it's the height of that pop-up. I'm telling you, the hardest fly ball to field is the one that's straight up in the air.
Worm burner to the left side, sneaks between the diving gloves of McNeamer and Daniels into left. It's a 1-out base knock for Gabby Garcia. Second time she's found her way aboard in this one. And you talked about how high that pop-up went from Wells. There were some planes flying around Lovelace Stadium early, maybe taking some aerial shots of the sold-out crowd and everybody that's in attendance. They had to be watching out for the altitude of that one. Hard hit chopper. McNeamer bobbled it initially, still gets the fielder's choice at second. Garcia close to the bag. We'll see if there's any conversation here from the Oklahoma dugout, but for now, it's 2 down.
That ball was hit hard enough that Riley McNeamer can bobble it and still get that force out at second base. And so I think the credit goes to Riley McNeamer because she's able to make that throw and clearly an out over there at second.
And no real conversation from the Sooners. They knew that was the case in real time. 2 down in the frame. North Texas, Brittany Lewinsky trying to work her first clean inning in the circle for the Mean Green. Hard hit ball as this one's down the right field line, but foul. Minor got around it, and it's 0-2.
There's that triple threat I was talking about earlier. In her first at-bat, first pitch, she ran through the box as if she was going to drag bunt. That time she absolutely crushes a foul ball when she swung away.
Off the end of the bat, into the alleyway left side. The throw to third, one hop, the tag is placed, and she is out. Slovak with a bullet to third. McNeamer makes the play on the hop, and North Texas is out of the inning unscathed.
You know that this Oklahoma offense is going to try to take the extra base. Casey Slovak having the awareness to come up throwing on this, gets her body in position, fires a strike over to third to get the out. Still 2-0 here in Denton, Texas.
Ready for her third inning of work in the circle for Oklahoma, leading 2-0 on the road against the North Texas Mean Green. Alongside Maria Tribalpiece, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Beautiful night in Denton. Sun is now set, and we are under the lights at Lovelay Stadium. First pitch swinging. Casey Slovak puts it on the dirt. Fielded easily by Huacheño, and the first out is May.
This first time through the lineup for Miley Huacheño has been her utilizing the spin on her pitches, Kyle. She's had a few strikeouts, but we've seen a lot of choppy balls in the infield, miss-hit balls as well, and it's because of how much spin she has on it. So these North Texas hitters unable to square it up.
Averaging right at 3 pitches per player faced in the lineup. 9-hole hitter up now in Taylor Platt. And 27 pitches on the board through 9 hitters in the order.
Well, Patty Gasso told us what she's been working on with her pitchers is getting ahead in counts and throwing strikes.
Platt cue balls this one into the screen in front of the third base dugout.
Her exact quote was, "If we limit walks and keep the ball in the park, we're gonna win a lot of softball games." And that's coming from somebody who's won a few softball games in her career, so, you know, I'll take her word for it.
Yeah, just 1,585. Only 363 losses. She has had 4 ties, though. Down the line.
I'm interested in that. They didn't play the extra innings?
They didn't play extra innings, I guess. It must have been tournament time,
Okay.
getaway days, midweek stuff.
Okay.
Must have been something like that. But yeah, 4 of those throughout her time.
We'll have to get the deep dive on that.
0-2, Huacheño ready. Platt lines this into center for a base hit. It took 9 hitters in the North Texas lineup, but they have their first hit of the day.
Huacheño has so much spin on her ball, but if you leave a rise ball too flat, that's what happens. Taylor Platt gets on top of it, lines it right back up the middle.
Back to the top of the order, and you talk about the emphasis on the pitching staff with this Oklahoma squad. Of course, they've had incredible outings by Audrey Lowry, 10-1 with a sub-2 ERA, 31 strikeouts, just 5 walks. But these midweek battles are it's something that allows coaches to utilize arms that they don't normally get to see, and this is a great case of that. And Huacheño, she could possibly be the number 2 or number 3 in the rotation, but she has to show out against some midweek opponents, kind of like North Texas.
Well, Coach Gasso told us, look, everybody knows at this point in time, Lowry is our number 1. That 2-3 position, we're still feeling out. It's early in the season. You didn't start conference play yet. Miley Huacheño, though, making a great appearance here against North Texas tonight, and she's had some good outings as of late as well. And so not only with the pitchers, Kyle, but with everybody on this Sooners team, they're still trying to win spots. And you need to perform in weekend games and midweek games to solidify your spot in the lineup.
Mitchell skies this in the air, left side. Tough play, reaching back at the warning track is Barker. Made the play at the last moment, but still holds on for out number 2.
I thought this ball was going to be out of play when it came off the bat, but Sydney Barker sticking with it, making a phenomenal catch in foul territory, ranging backwards and leaning back to come up with that ball.
Now this one in the air. David Daniels again, no man's land on that left field foul line, and Garcia over to the spot, makes the play. After a 1-out single, North Texas leaves a runner stranded. We're going to the 4th in Denton, Texas. One thing, but to hit 30 homers in their first 6 games as a team, it's unbelievable the numbers that the Sooners lineup is putting up there.
Watching this program the last so many years under head coach Patty Gasso, you think that they've already accomplished incredible feats that can't be topped, and then they do something like that and hit 30 home runs in a weekend, and you're just continuously amazed and surprised.
Oklahoma with 87 home runs, make it 88 on the season. This one goes over the scoreboard for Isabella Emmerling. It's 3-0 Sooners.
They continue to add to that home run total. Isabella Emmerling, there was no doubt about this one, Kyle. This ball right down the middle. She uses everything she's got in that swing to add another run to the Sooners total.
Nothing that Taylor Platt could do but just look up and watch that one fly. Second homer of the day for the Sooners. Number 88, as I mentioned, on the season. The next closest team is UCLA, Maria, and they're not even close to what Oklahoma has done this year.
Coming into today, the Bruins had 60 home runs, which is also very impressive at this point in the season. But what the Sooners have been doing, it does overshadow the success that UCLA is having.
Yeah, look at this. This is compared to other Sooners teams, which if you're going to talk about the standard of college softball power, Oklahoma is the standard. Patty Gasso has not seen anything quite like this from her program. Soft hit ground ball, tough play for McNeamer. Had to make the throw on the run. It's not in time. Barker beats out the throw for an infield single.
It's so tough because you're playing all of these hitters either deep in the outfield or closer to the bags on the corners, and there's nothing Riley McNeamer can really do. She makes a great throw on the run, but Barker beats it out to first.
Almost anybody else running down the 60 feet to first, that's probably going to be an out and a highlight reel play, but Barker able to beat that out. Sooners, as they often do, looking for that bunt and run possibility. Team with a ton of team speed, 29 stolen bases and 32 tries this year. And with Agbayani at the plate, somebody that they very well trust, a returner trying to put it down. She does miss it on this occasion, but it evens the count at 1-1.
That barrel on the bunt angled a little bit too far foul. That's why the ball does trickle down that third baseline on the opposite side of fair territory. So such a skill to be able to drag bunt and keep that ball in front of you.
Tried it again. What have you thought about the outing so far for Brittany Lewinsky?
I think overall, the pitches that she's missed on have been those two big home runs, right? But the changeup has worked well when she's thrown it for a strike.
Ground ball through her legs in the circle. An unfortunate error from North Texas puts two runners on, still nobody out here in the fourth.
And to answer your question, Kyle, from a moment ago, this is a good pitch from Lewinsky. She gets a short hop ground ball, but unable to handle it. That's the kind of contact you want to create against Oklahoma, but even those small plays become so magnified when you're playing an offense with so much pop power and just lethal ability.
This is a injury timeout as the training staff comes over to look at the right hand of Lewinsky, and you can tell she is a little shaken up here. It went off the right thumb. That's imperative for pitchers, especially when you want to get the right spin and the right type of break on your pitches.
Especially in the way that you hold each of your pitches, especially because a softball is bigger than a baseball, and a lot of women have smaller hands, so you need all 5 fingers a lot of the times to be able to spin the ball, to be able to throw strikes. And so any little dink to the hand can make an impact. The good news is it does look like Brittany Lewinsky's feeling better after that. She just threw a couple warm-ups, so hopefully for her and the Mean Green, everything okay, and she'll be able to go attack these hitters once again.
Sold out crowd here at Lovelace Stadium, and you can kind of feel this game hanging in the balance a little bit. North Texas can't afford to make multiple mistakes in a row. You give up the home run on the leadoff hitter to Isabella Emmerling, then a single in the infield, then an error. Can't allow those things to stack up. This is a crucial moment in this ballgame.
When you're playing a team like the Sooners, you need to play close to perfect. So all the little things need to be done right.
You also look at where those 3 mistakes, we'll call them mistakes, happened in the lineup, 7, 8, and 9 respectively. Now you have to deal with back-to-back All-Americans and probably an All-American in the making, and Kendall Wells coming to the plate in the next 3 hitters.
And it's tough because 7, 8, and 9 in this lineup are better than most 7, 8, and 9 hitters across the country. So you don't want to make mistakes with them either. Now, one thing I did like from Brittany Lewinsky is she comes back and throws a changeup on the first pitch. And I think, again, you saw Cassidy Pickering struggle with that in her first at-bat, so she gets ahead on her now. Now it's 2-2, so way to respond after the error in the home run.
Chopper right side, it sees its way through. The throw from Connolly to the plate takes a hop, not in time. Sydney Barker with the speed around third, scores from second. It's 4-0 Sooners.
Nothing Madison Conley could really do on this one. She does everything in her power, coming up, throwing, fires a strike to home. But Sydney Barker, as we've already seen, has so much speed, Kyle. This one getting to Conley a little bit too late for her to be able to throw out any runners at home.
Here's Ella Parker. Parker sends this one into the night sky. It is gone. The big inning is what Oklahoma has hung their hats on this season. They're doing so again on the road against the Mean Green.
The Sooners have success because they're patient and they wait for their pitch. Ella Parker, such a talent in this lineup. This ball right over the plate. She gets her entire body into it. A line drive over the right center field wall to add to Oklahoma's run total.
5 runs across in the inning, and North Texas will make a change. Lewinsky battled through the first 3 frames, but Oklahoma is inevitable at this point in time. They lead it 7-0, top of the 4th in Denton. Who has had a phenomenal season in the circle, 4-3 with a 54 innings pitched so far. Tell me a little bit about what you've seen from Anderson here in 2026.
Well, I think she's getting more comfortable in the circle. She's somebody that ended her year on a high note a season ago in the American Conference Championship. She'll be in the mid-60s. She's heavy on that curveball and the screw. She's working on that change and has been trying to develop it over time. And I think especially tonight, she'll need to use that to be effective.
Nobody out. 5 runs across in the inning after it was just 2-0 through 3. A couple home runs in the frame. A 3-run shot from Ella Parker is what brings the day to a close for now for Lewinsky. Inning started with a solo blast from Isabella Emmerling. Scoring started with a solo blast from Kendall Wells, and Wells in for her 3rd time. Had the solo homer in the first, pop up to the second baseman in the 3rd. I think if you're an opposing pitcher, whether you play for North Texas or you play for Abilene Christian coming up this weekend, or Louisiana or Tulsa or Auburn or anybody that's still remaining on the Oklahoma schedule, I don't think you need to throw anywhere near Kendall Wells right now.
I think the problem is, though, Kyle, you can throw an 0-2 waste pitch in the left-handed batter's box, and I think she'd still find a way to hit it over the fence. That first pitch she hit a home run on was low. It wasn't even a strike.
And you can see here, Anderson has no concern putting a runner at first and staying out of the way for Kendall Wells.
I think the biggest question for Patty Gasso is going to be, who do you put behind Kendall Wells in your batting order? Because that's a person who will have a ton of responsibility. You want to make them think twice about walking or intentionally walking Kendall Wells. And to do that, you need to have a strong hitter who also hits a lot of home runs behind her to protect her.
And that's what Gabby Garcia is. She was one of the top freshmen in college softball last year as well. 5th in terms of home runs. She had 20 last year. Hitting with a .415 average, already 11 homers to her total. So at least to this point in the season, that's worked well. Now she puts a charge into this one deep in the left center field. Playable for Platt as she goes back to the warning track and retires Garcia.
As a former outfielder, I think this would be a fun game to play in. Because, you know, when you're a young softball player and nobody wants to go in the outfield because nobody hits the ball out there, in this game, you know you're going to get a lot of action. So I would be chomping at the bit to play outfield against Oklahoma.
It's going to make its way to the outfield. The only problem is you may run out of real estate.
That's fair.
You might watch it go over your head a couple times.
Yeah, that's true.
But from an outfielder standpoint, I completely understand. Have not seen a ton in the building at the moment.
Taylor Platts had some action out there in center. She's done a really good job of, as you mentioned earlier, working from the wall back in. So the playable balls, North Texas has done a great job on.
Platt standing her heels almost on the warning track. This one's fouled back again.
But you have to do that because they hit the ball with so much power. You have to give yourself an opportunity to at least field some of those in the gap. And then when they do eventually hit one, it's like picking your poison. Like you'll take the bloop single to maybe stop a double in the gap.
Daniel barely gets a piece of it. Moffitt frustrated. She wanted to squeeze that one for strike 3. Lexi McDaniel, 556 average entering. 0 for 2 so far with a ground out and a fielder's choice coming off of her SEC Freshman of the Week nod last week. Off the end of the bat, that will find a hole into right field. Conley puts a throw to third. It's off to the left. No chance for McNeamer to place the tag in time. From first to third goes the pinch runner for Oklahoma, Shani Helton.
That's great base running too. You want to continue to put the pressure on because what makes a great offense, Kyle, isn't just the amount of home runs. That's obviously very helpful to hit 80+ home runs through 21 games. But if you can also utilize the drag bunt, utilize aggressive base running, you become really difficult to beat.
That's exactly what Patty Gasso is thinking here as she looks to the dugout and wants to make a quick substitution. Already saw the pinch runner in Helton go from first to third, and now Abby Dayton, senior out of Riverside, California, and a transfer from Utah, will step on first. Runners at the corners for Annika Anderson. Anderson, her last time out this past weekend against Abilene Christian, went 3 1/3, allowed 4 earned runs on 7 hits. Threw for 63 pitches, did allow a homer in that matchup. But ultimately, North Texas still got the win in that game by a score of 16-6. Left side, through the hole, another RBI for Kai Miner. The #1 recruit in the most recent class has this scorching single, and the Sooners have batted around.
You and I talked about this the last time Kai Miner was at the plate. She fouled a ball off hard down the right field line and then immediately hit a single the opposite way. Here in this at-bat, single opposite way. She can hit to both sides of the field, which makes her so elite. And, you know, we already talked about her speed and her ability to slap and drag bunt. I know that, yes, #1 recruit coming into the season, and we're going to talk a lot about freshman Kendall Wells also, but Kai Miner is a name that you need to circle in this freshman class as well.
Emmerling, who started the scoring here in the inning, led off the frame with a solo blast that went over the scoreboard in left center. It was her 8th of the year. Also ended her weekend on a high note as well. Had a 3-hit game their last time out with a homer, a double, and multiple RBIs in their win against Long Beach State last time out. Runners at first and second with just 1 down. 6 runs across for the Sooners in the inning. Anderson high and outside. At this point, you also don't want to go anywhere near the plate because of what Emmerling just did to start the frame. But also, you have a place to put them. You don't want to necessarily load the bases. Just got underneath.
It comes down to finding a way to throw strikes right on the edges, which is one of the most difficult things to do in softball. But you have to in this situation because you don't want to get in a deeper hole. You want to try to get outs in this situation. Like, I know you have a base open, right? But then you also don't want bases loaded for Sydney Barker on deck. You also then want to have somewhere to put Sydney Barker, and you don't want to work around her as well. So I think that if I'm Annika Anderson, I'm just trying to throw strikes here in this scenario.
Full count. High in the air, deep into center. Platt all the way back to the warning track, looking up. 2 homers in the same inning for Isabella Emmerling. The first one was a solo blast to lead off the frame. This one tacks on 3 more. It's a double-digit lead for Oklahoma.
Isabella Emmerling does not miss. And what I mean by that, Kyle, is if there is a pitch over the plate, she knows she can drive it, and she will give every ounce of effort behind that swing in order to do so. Annika Anderson with the curveball, low and outside. Emmerling knows she can crush it. She waits on it and drives it the opposite way.
You see the reaction from Platt in center. You can even see it off the bat. Anderson knew it as soon as the swing was made. Emmerling with her 8th and 9th homer of the year, and it comes in the same frame. 12 hits on the day now for the Sooners and 11 runs to show for it.
They just swing so freely. I think that's what I've been most impressed with. It is the confidence, right? But also the speed and strength in which they move the bat through the zone. When you can play with that freedom and confidence, you give yourself a really good chance to square it up, to hit the ball hard. And then with the strength that these athletes have, it has a really good chance of going over the fence. That's one thing Coach Gasso talked to us about, is just their strength program and how their strength coach works so well with these student athletes to make them as strong as they possibly can be. And we're seeing that play out. We've seen it play out in Oklahoma's history, but especially this year with all of the home runs that they've been putting on the board.
You feel like this Oklahoma team, because of the amount of power and the amount of pop that they have in that lineup, there's a pretty good indication of it. A no-doubter to straightaway center. This time it's Sydney Barker. The solo jack makes it a 12-0 Oklahoma lead, her 5th of the year.
You know, Kyle, before this game started, I wrote down a lot of different adjectives and synonyms for exciting and impressive, and I think I'm running out of ways to describe Sooners home runs, because every single time, you know what I'm saying? There's a pitch, they're able to drive it, they crush it over the wall. I think I'm running out of ways to describe the way that they hit the ball, because they've just done it so consistently and so well.
Another pitching change for North Texas. Patty Gasso and the Oklahoma Sooners with 10 runs across in the frame. Annika Anderson works her way to the third base dugout as Coach White makes a change. Kaylee Smith on in relief out of the bullpen. Right-hander 1-2 this season. She's allowed 19 earned runs over 14 innings pitched. Oklahoma with 10 runs in the inning off the strength of 4 home runs. 2 by Isabella Emmerling, a 3-run blast from Ella Parker, and then another one just now from Sydney Barker to make it a 12-0 game. This was a 2-0 contest, seemingly a blink of an eye ago.
Well, those first few innings seemed to go by so fast because North Texas worked their way out. You see Kaylee Smith coming in now. I think this could be a good solution because of the amount of drops she'll throw.
Trying to keep the ball low, past the diving second baseman Harmon and into right field. It's a base hit for Agbayani. Her first hit of the day after reaching on a walk and an error in the second and the fourth. Yeah, at this point with the wind now died down and the ball flying out of the yard the way we've seen this inning from Oklahoma, if you're North Texas, the number one thing is put the ball down and allow your defense to try and work.
And that's what Kaylee Smith does, and it's what makes her effective, is she's going to induce a lot of ground balls. You just saw it. I mean, that was a single, but still hit on the ground. That drop ball, the screwball she has as well, low in the zone.
North Texas bench wanted a called strike there, doesn't get it. Top of the lineup again for the Sooners. Pickering already 2 for 3. First team All-American last year. Does have an RBI, did strike out to open the game. Pokes this one into center, right at Platt, and there's the second out of the inning. That was kind of a halfway swing, and it still nearly went to the warning track.
It looks like Kaylee Smith took something off that pitch. Pickering gets caught out in front, but as you said, Kyle, even though her timing was slightly off, still hits the ball hard.
Ella Parker hit the 3-run home run earlier in the frame after seeing Pickering and Akbayani reach base. Chopper sent to short, misplayed. Daniels took a step back. Now Platt throws to third. It's off the mark. Runners at second and third after the error at short.
Those balls that are those mid-level hops are the ones you have to charge, Kyle, and you see Daniels take that step back. What you want to do on that play is cut off the hop, come through it, and try to get the runner at first base. The second you either stay where you are, especially if you take a step back, you have a lot more difficult of a time fielding that grounder.
North Texas has a team with a .968 fielding percentage coming in, and one element that Coach White has been proud of through the first 22 games of the year was the fielding. They feel pretty good about the way that they have attacked the defensive elements in the game, but that's the second error that we've seen from North Texas in the game.
They have been great defensively so far this season, and as you said, Coach White, very proud of that element. I think tonight the thing is the speed that the ball is coming off the bat. We talked about Oklahoma swinging free, swinging hard, and even ground balls have a lot of zip on them.
Alyssa Parker steps in. Pinch hitting for Kendall Wells. Parker still hitting .429 this season. 15 hits in 35 at-bats, 8 home runs in 20 RBIs. This is a player coming off the bench. That's incredible.
I told you that you can't take a breather 1 through 9. You can't even take a breather with a pinch hitter or a pinch runner because they all are hitting so high. As you said earlier in the game, every player with the registered at bat has 3 home runs at least.
And the offense showing off here in the frame. 1 run in the first, 1 in the second. OU was scoreless in the third, and then now they've put up a double figure in the fourth. Chance to add for more with a base hit here. This catches the outer edge. Count is full with 2 down. Runners at second and third. Payoff pitch is fouled away. Kaylee Smith, that 9.28 ERA over her 14 innings pitched this season.
She does give a different look, though, than the other pitchers on this staff, so I think it's a good move from Coach White to bring her in to try to stop the bleeding in this inning.
And she does just that. Gets Parker swinging on the outer half, but not before Oklahoma does it again. The Sooners swing for 10 runs in the top of the fourth.
Sealing the deal, though, is Kaylee Smith with the strikeout. Big out for the Mean Green as we head to the bottom of the fourth.
Sooner faithful putting up a offensive showcase yet again. 10 runs in the top of the fourth, allowing for a bevy of changes. Sydney Berzon is on in relief of Miley Huacheño. She goes a scoreless 3 innings, allowed just the 1 hit so far, but Berzon, again, one of these top pitchers out of the bullpen for the Sooners.
She's a transfer from LSU, and that's one thing that Patty Gasso has done a great job of, is getting pitchers from other places to come into her program. Berzon saw a lot of success as a Tiger. She throws drop balls, keeps the ball down in the zone, and so she's a great addition to this staff. One thing that we haven't had a chance to talk a lot about, Kyle, because we've been so focused on the Oklahoma offense, is the way that the Sooners utilize a pitching staff. So Audrey Lowry in that number 1 spot, but we saw Miley Huacheño, and now we have Sydney Berzon coming in. And so just utilizing multiple arms has helped Oklahoma.
She'll face Madison Conley to start the inning. 3, 4, 5 due up in the North Texas order. 3 of their best hitters in the lineup, and the bats that have been, at least as of recently, the hottest in the lineup for Coach White, trying to at least chip away a bit at what Oklahoma has put on the board recently. Conley skies it foul.
If you're a North Texas hitter in this situation, you want to go up and have good quality at bats. I know the score isn't favorable at the moment, but you still have opportunities to get swings off high-level pitchers that can help you come conference play.
Seeing the type of quality arm that you will with Oklahoma, it'll make everything else in the American Conference look pedestrian to a certain extent, and that's one of the benefits that North Texas does have with a really tough non-conference schedule, one of the toughest that the American Conference has seen this year.
And I love when coaches do that. Back when I was a player, we always opened up with a lot of P4 programs, a lot of P4 arms, because it prepares you. If you can hit the best, then anybody else seems easier when you step into the batter's box. And I think at first it might tank your confidence because you might be not squaring the ball up how you want. You might not be having those quality at-bats that you want, but once you start finding ways to get hits off these high-quality pitchers, you find yourself becoming a better hitter, and it plays well as the season goes on.
Remember, North Texas goes straight into conference play this weekend as Conley chops this one to third. Barker handles with the chest-high snag, and there's one down. North Texas travels to UAB for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series before returning home next week to take on Tulsa at Lovelace Stadium. Only 2 non-conference games at home. Everything else on the road for the Mean Green this year.
And that takes a toll on the body as well. I remember as somebody who played in New York and you're coming down to go to tournaments in Florida or California, those constant travel days really add up. So the fact that they get to be at home really helps. And man, taking a look at those numbers from Elizabeth Moffitt, she's been so good this season.
Yeah, really incredible step forward from Texas Tech to North Texas, and now her second year with the Mean Green. And there's another base hit over the leaping glove of Garcia into left center. Second hit of the day for the North Texas offense.
This pitch low and inside from Sydney Berzon. Elizabeth Moffitt getting her hands to the ball. She doesn't try to do too much with it. Kyle just makes good contact, so it bloops in for a single.
Talked about quality ABs. That's exactly what she showed there. Brady Harmon hitting above the 300 mark this season. North Texas trying to do something against Berzon that they have not done in the game, which is stack multiple base runners on at the same time. Had one base runner on a hit by pitch in the first inning, another one on a 1-out single in the third inning, and then this one by Moffitt. We've not seen multiple base runners in a frame through the first 4 so far. Swing and a miss here. 2 outs in the inning. First strikeout of the day for Sydney Berzon.
That's Berzon's best pitch, that drop ball. It falls off the table with so much late break, and so it starts at your knees and you think, okay, maybe I could square this up. Completely falls off the table and then you can't even foul it off.
Layla Nobles chops it foul left side. You could tell just by the body language that Nobles felt like she missed that one.
She chops it foul, but again, it's that spin, that drop spin that makes it hard to square up.
Second one, same spot, same result.
And you have to think that Sydney Berzon's going to go back to that pitch, but this one even more so out of the strike zone. I can see her throwing a drop ball that maybe starts at your shins and falls in the dirt on this next pitch.
Senior out of Buffalo, New York, and the transfer from LSU. Kicks and delivers. A swinging strike three brings the inning to a close. Oklahoma with the shutdown frame after they put up 10 runs in the top of the third. Now the pitching gets the return the favor.
The drop ball from Berzon, it's something we've seen across college softball. She comes back with it twice in this at-bat, getting the Mean Green hitters to chase. 12-0 Oklahoma. Runs in the fourth inning. The Bats getting it done, starting with this home run from Isabella Emmerling. Pay attention to her because she was not done in the fourth. Multiple hits from this Oklahoma squad. There's the second home run from Emmerling. 4 total in the inning for Oklahoma, just showing the pop that they have at the plate, Kyle. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. Coming off a weekend where they had, of course, the 32-0 win against Alabama State on Thursday. That was the first chunk of ended up being a 116-run output over 6 games. Put up 116 runs, so this is nothing new for Oklahoma. Actually, when you look at it, outside of that Long Beach State game at the end of the weekend, this would be the second lowest scoring output over the last 6 games for the Sooners. That's just the type of season that they're putting together, and exactly what they've done tonight is no different.
It's impressive. It's exhilarating to watch. It is so incredible what this team has been able to do so early in the season. And I know I said it already once, but Oklahoma just continues to break records, continues to stun the softball world with what they're able to do on the field day in and day out.
Garcia just trying to put bat on the ball. Flies out to left. Slovak tracks it down. 1 up, 1 down for Kaylee Smith. Her second inning in the circle for Cody White. Faced with the 4, 5, 6 hitters in the order. We're going to see a lot of new names that we haven't seen in the game so far. Abby Dayton we have seen as a pinch runner. It's her first plate appearance of the night.
And to the point we made earlier, she came in off the bench, hitting over 500 with 21 RBIs and 3 home runs.
Unbelievable.
And honestly, Kyle, for North Texas, there were the few errors that we touched upon, but they haven't done anything too poorly or wrong. It's just that these Oklahoma hitters have been able to square up the ball and put the ball out of the park. You can't defend it when it goes over that 220 in center.
I think that's the big thing is the big inning happened when errors compounded. You had the hanging changeup that was hit for a home run, and then an error in the circle and a fielding attempt trying to get an out at first base and maybe rushing it on a hop. You had an error at shortstop that continued the inning as well. And against a lineup as talented as this Oklahoma team and that we've talked about all night long, you just can't afford to make multiple mistakes and see them stacked one on top of the other.
Exactly.
Payoff pitch right back up the middle. Watch out. A screaming line drive single by Abby Dayton. Running on the second, taking advantage of a lackadaisical throw in, and there's the speed by Dayton. She's in safely at second.
It's the speed and it's the aggression, knowing off the bat, can you stretch a single into a double? She hit that ball so hard, Kyle, there's no way that she should have been able to make it to second base, but it's the decision right when you leave the batter's box to know you're going for 2.
Now Kai Miner puts one into center field. Platt charging on. She'll throw to the plate on a hop. No chance. Sliding in safely is Dayton, and Oklahoma adds to their lead again.
Kai Miner making good contact on this pitch, and Abby Dayton knowing that any ball on the ground, she's scoring. Gets a great jump off second, even has to get stopped there so she doesn't get hit by Kai Miner's ball up the middle. It's a great jump and scores all the way from second.
4-hit day for Kai Miner. Now this one's driven deep into left. It's hooking, foul off the bat of Isabella Emmerling, who has homered in each of her last 2 at-bats. And you can see the sigh as she has to take her spot in the box again.
Isabella Emmerling all smiles, and it looks like Coach Gasso thinks that ball might have been fair. It had a lot of hook on it, and it's difficult to tell because it did exit the park right over that foul pole, but ultimately going to be a foul ball, and Isabella Emmerling has to get back in the box and try to hit home run number 3 again.
Softball just has to look like a beach ball for Emmerling right now. And she drills this one on a screaming drive into right center. One hops the wall, throw into the infield, enough to cut off Kai Miner. An incredible throw by Conley just to keep Oklahoma off the board here, but extra base hits starting to stack up for the Sooners.
Well, Madison Conley has been really impressive in the outfield, making some catches and some tough throws as well. But when you talk about impressive, you have to mention Patty Gasso's name. You take a look at the dominance that this program has had under her leadership. And it's just the biggest question for me, Kyle, is how do they continue to even add to it? Because they do every single time they step on the ball field.
Yeah, we asked her, have you ever seen anything quite like this? The start with the home runs that now stand at 91 in 22 games. She said, nope, not really. It was one of the first times I've ever heard her say, no, I haven't seen that in my 32 years coaching for the Sooners. She is one of the legends of the sport, as we've talked about. But when you have a start as miraculous as this one, it really is hard to describe and put into words until you really see it in person.
I think it speaks to her ability and her staff's ability to develop players as well, Kyle, because obviously she brings in great recruits. Kai Miner, the #1 recruit in her class. She can bring in phenomenal transfers as well, but it's the way that they get better in their years at Oklahoma that is so impressive to me.
Sydney Barker now down in the count 1-2. She had the solo blast her last time up. 2 for 3 in the day. Had a single and a run scored in the 4th. Hit that homer in the 5th. Runners in scoring position for the Sooners. Swing and a miss. Oh, foul ball. Made contact with the handle there. Barely got a piece of it.
It was hard to even tell how she made contact with it. Watching it live, I was like, oh, she just swung and missed, but there seemed to be a piece of it there somewhere.
Hard hit ball again. Seeing eye single into center. They'll hold the runner at 3rd. Runners on the corners, and another one tacked on for the Sooners. RBI number 15 of the campaign for Sydney Barker.
Looks like head coach Cody White is going to go out and talk to Kaylee Smith. Just maybe have a conversation about how they can get the ball on the ground more. Her drop is her best pitch, and we've seen less home runs since she's entered the game. We've seen more balls on the ground, but still hard, screaming hits up the middle.
North Texas has seen their fair share of ranked opponents this season, including Texas Tech, a national finalist a year ago. The Red Raiders, with the same score on February 6th as they did on February 27th against Cody White in the Mean Green. Haven't had the best luck across the board, but this is where you talked about it earlier. Seeing these arms, seeing the quality of team on the other side and in the other dugout makes you better for whenever conference play comes around. And UAB this weekend on the road in Birmingham should not scare North Texas.
And it doesn't only prepare you for conference play, it prepares you if you have an opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament, because there's a really good chance with the way that the brackets align that you might end up in Texas Tech's regional, right? So, hey, you've played them 3 times. It's going to be a little less scary to face. I mean, I guess, let me take that back. It's never not scary to face Nyjah Kennedy, but at least you've seen her before a couple of times before stepping into the box in an NCAA regional if you make one.
Fourth time that Agbayani has reached safely. She gets hit by a pitch here right off the elbow. And we just talked about seeing some of the top pitchers in the nation. I mean, seeing this lineup too is an interesting factor. Line drive shot into left. Slovak is there. That's been the kind of day for Pickering, the one player that hasn't left the yard, but she's hit some of the hardest hit balls and the biggest exit velocities we've seen on the night.
I always say that we pick the stupidest sport sometimes because you can hit the best ball of your life and you're out, and then you can hit the worst ball of your life and you're safe with a single.
There's a hard hit ball that will be a single as Ella Parker continues to build on her day. One run across, there's the second, possibly a third, not so fast. They'll keep the runner in Agbayani at third. More runs across for the Sooners.
And they've done it in a different way this inning. It hasn't been the long ball, it's been the hard line drives. And I think it just speaks to the diversity of their ability to hit because they can't put the ball out of the park, but they also can just square up line drives and score runs single, single, single past the bat.
Ella Parker with a total of 5 RBIs in the game. Now with the 2-run single and then the 3-run blast she had back in the fourth, and they've been aggressive. These are all first pitches in the at-bats, not wasting any time.
It's funny because they have been aggressive, but what they hang their hats on a lot of the time is their patience at the plate. And patience and aggressiveness can actually go hand in hand because you're aggressive on the pitches that you can drive, but patient to wait to get those pitches.
This one off the handle, into the corner, tracked down by Slovak in the inning. Comes to a close. Oklahoma puts 4 runs on the board. They extend their lead to 16-0, 3 outs away from ending this road matchup in Denton, Texas with a double-digit advantage.
Those double digits coming from some home runs, but this inning with some RBI singles and hard hit balls, 16-0 Sooners as we head to the bottom of the 5th.
To the 2025 campaign. Last February, North Texas did see a ranked opponent in Denton, Texas. It was the Texas Tech Red Raiders we just talked about a couple moments ago, ending on a Riley McNeamer grand slam. They were down by 3, ended up winning by 1. An incredible moment in North Texas program history.
I've seen that hit so many times, and I still get chills when I watch it. To beat a ranked opponent with a game-winning grand slam, there's really nothing better than that.
And now she puts a swing on this to lead off the inning and singles into straightaway center field. And how about that? You take a look at the grand slam she hit last year, an all-time great moment, and then she turns around on the first pitch and singles to put a runner on to start the inning. Now, North Texas needs to get on the horse a little bit, try and chip away to even continue the game. But right now it has been all Oklahoma. Back-to-back hits. This one into center past the diving Agbayani.
I like the adjustments from North Texas against Cindy Burzon because we saw her utilize that drop ball in the last inning with strikeouts against these mean green hitters. Now, back-to-back, McNeamer and Slovak hitting singles. You're not trying to elevate that drop ball. You're trying to find ways to put the ball in play, and you do that with singles and passing the bat.
Swing and a miss here. Taylor Platt also singled her last at-bat. First time North Texas has had multiple base runners in the same inning. This one gets past and both will advance into scoring position they go. Not to sound patronizing for the sake of that, but to put a run on the board here would be big the way that this game has gone for North Texas.
Well, I think in any softball game, Kyle, you want to take your little victories, right? If you only focus on wins and losses, and you'll see this drop ball get away to the backstop that allows both hitters to advance. But I think as coaches and as players, one thing that we talk a lot about is the little wins, right? Is, do you have a good at-bat? Do you make the right adjustments? Do you make good plays defensively? It's not always about the overall win and loss column. You need to take the little victories. As I said a couple innings ago, you can do everything right and still get out. So if you only focus on outcome, you'll just dig yourself in a hole. So to your point, I think for North Texas to have good at-bats, to put a run across the board, that's a victory that you want to kind of put underneath your cap, because you need to find out ways when you're being tested, when you're down, how do you respond?
I like the encouragement from the in-house PA as well during that last pitching visit. They were saying started from the bottom. Now we hear trying to encourage the team to start from the bottom and get things rolling in the right direction. The creativity of these athletic departments never ceases to amaze me.
I love the creativity of social media teams as well.
3-1 outside, ball 4, and North Texas has the bases loaded. That is the first walk issued by Sooner pitching on the evening. The final 3 hitters in the North Texas order, 7, 8, 9. McNeamer, Slovak, and Platt all reach safely. Here's the top of the order with Mitchell.
Araya Mitchell is somebody that Cody White told us is the person that steps up in the biggest of moments. And when things are difficult, that's when she plays her best.
I think you could categorize this as one of those moments.
And that's why I bring it up, because I think you're playing one of the best teams in the country. You're down right now. You have bases loaded, an opportunity to put some runs on the board for your team. Araya Mitchell is who Cody White would one up in the situation.
Of course, with conference play right on the horizon for North Texas, Oklahoma has to wait until next weekend before they get to take on Auburn up in Norman for their first conference series. But North Texas trying to build some momentum. They'll scratch across at least one on the fielder's choice. Agbayani tosses it to Garcia to get the force out at second, and North Texas is on the board as McNeamer crosses the plate.
But that's what I mean by a quality at bat. Araya Mitchell gets this ball in a position where Oklahoma can't get the base runner going home. She hits it up the middle, chopping on the ground. And so even though it goes against her batting average, right, that's a quality at bat.
Hard hit ball down the left field line. It's foul. Wow, it was close, right near the bag. Remember, if that goes over the bag, that is a fair ball, but it was ruled foul by Chad Spittler as he had a great look at it down the line.
It's barely foul too, Kyle. You see hitting, it does hit on the other side of the foul line, but I'm interested to see where it hooked.
Swing and a miss, nothing in 2 for Eva Daniels. 0-2 to start the day. Has been busy at shortstop for the Mean Green. 0-2 pitch, put in play. Throw to second for 1, throw to first, not in time, and the second run will come across in the inning for the Mean Green, but they are down to their final out.
Another quality at bat. Again, it's going to go against your batting average in this scenario, but putting the ball in a position where Oklahoma can't get the runner going home. And you know, again, as Oklahoma is playing defense, right, they want to be making those sure outs. They're up by that much.
Added by about a step and a half at first. Daniels down the line. Connolly steps in. North Texas putting up a pair here in the bottom of the 5th, ending the shutout bid and putting a couple more hits on the board as well. Oklahoma struck for 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 10 in the 4th inning, and then another 4-run inning in the 5th to get to their 16-run total. 19 hits on the board, no errors, and they've left 8 stranded. Mean Green have had the 4 hits so far. Couple errors to their total, 3 left stranded and the 2 runs across for the Mean Green. These 2 teams have been facing off since 1987. 32nd all-time meeting between the 2 sides. Conley puts a charge into this one. Miner looking up at the wall. That one is gone. Madison Conley with a little Mean Green power to put a pair on the board.
Madison Conley, one of the best power hitters in this lineup, Kyle. Look at the confidence that she has after the home run, but she had that when she stepped into the box as well, and that's why she's able to hit this ball in the way that she does. This pitch hangs a little bit, but it's still low. She gets a lot behind that ball to drive it to add 2 runs for the Mean Green.
How about the fight by North Texas in the bottom of the 5th? Trailed in this inning and have put up 4 runs to equal Oklahoma's output in the top half of the frame. Now Moffitt up the middle. What a job by Garcia just to get to that ground ball. Threw it from her backside, just trying to desperately heave to first. It's an infield single for Moffitt.
Garcia's impressed me this whole night, Kyle. She had that play on the fielder's choice where she stayed low and got the force at second, but her range is phenomenal. Another good job, though, by Elizabeth Moffitt to not do too much with that pitch, just go up the middle for a single.
Of course, extends her hit streak to now 9 games. Talked about the 8-game hit streak entering. This one down the left field line. That's a foul ball. Cody White can't believe it. He's going to have a conversation. It was right over the top of the bag again. Second time in the inning. And White is furious out of the third base coach's box. I really don't blame him.
You can feel the frustration. North Texas is starting a rally here. Watch where this ball goes. It looks like it stays fair based on this replay. We'll watch where it hits. That looks fair to me.
Wow, it is right over the bag, and I'm right there with you.
And I think it hits right before the bag, too,
yep,
in fair territory.
So that should be, at least on that look, should be a fair ball. It's going to be tough to overturn one way or the other.
Right.
There are challenges and appeals allowed in this game.
It's tough, too, because North Texas putting up 4 runs in this inning. They're starting to build momentum, and then that pressure they're putting on this Oklahoma defense, forcing what probably would have been an error if that ball is called fair.
Sienna Mayer steps in for the Mean Green. Delivered that one down the left field line, but now faced to an 0-2 count. Could have had 2 on, and instead, Mayer fouls this one away.
You need to see the response now from Mayer. Obviously, that's a tough call against your team, but you're still in the at-bat. Can you dig in? Can you still fight and keep this rally going for North Texas?
In front of a sold-out crowd at Lovelace Stadium. The 0-2. This is outside. Mayer replacing Brady Harmon, who finishes her day 0 for 2. Nobles on deck at the moment, should the inning continue. Also misses low and inside.
It's tough to decipher, too, between a ball and a strike with the down movement on Berzon's ball. You don't want to get caught looking in this scenario.
The 2-2. High in the air, left side. This should do it. Underneath it is Parker, and the game comes to a close. North Texas put up a fight in the 5th, but the Oklahoma Sooners swing their way to a 16-4 win on the road.
We talked so much coming into this game about the home run potential of Oklahoma. They proved us right, Kyle, as we came into the broadcast. North Texas, though, this last inning tells me a lot about this team and the way that they're going to fight, not only in this game, but in this season as well. So good performance from the Sooners, but also good fight from North Texas.
Oklahoma gets the win. They continue their non-conference push, their 20th win of the campaign. For Maria Tribal Peace and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Give me the final score one more time. Oklahoma wins it, 5 home runs, 16-4 the final from Denton. So long from Lovelace Stadium.